up. I really do. Because
I mean, listen, the Colts are good. Like, they are, honestly, you can make the case that they should be in the AFC title game based off what we've seen right now.
The Colts are probably, besides the Chiefs, the best team in the AFC right now, and it's something that none of us saw coming.
Well, that's a Cap 10 preview right there.
Remember, this team, for a couple of years now, has had a very good offensive line, and Jonathan Taylor has been hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But when Jonathan Taylor's been healthy, they've been able to run the football for years.
But it's not only run the football, it's run the ball, it's protect Daniel Jones.
Right.
And it's not turn the ball over.
They have an elite-level offensive line that allows them to do the first two things and allows Daniel Jones enough time to not do the third thing.
Think about Daniel Jones for one quick second and Sam Darnold.
You know what that's called, Cappy?
Analysis?
Well, yes.
Okay.
But
I thought there was a right answer.
Complementary football.
Complementary football is what that is.
Complementary football.
Yes.
But that is a phrase you hear coaches say a lot, but that is the literal definition of it.
Think about Daniel Jones, now with the Colts, is leading one of the best teams in the AFC. And Sam Darnold is currently leading one of the best teams in the NFC, the Seattle Seahawks. And both of those quarterbacks were on the roster last year of the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Who are now in a situation where they can't play their first-round, second-year player who was hurt all of his rookie year.
Should they have kept one of those guys?
And, I mean, maybe.
And traded JJ?
I mean, listen, and even Carson Wentz, to be honest with you, looks pretty decent for a guy who's kind of been bouncing around ever since.
Pretty good
Kevin
quarterbacks
O'Connell's
coach.
an amazing coach. He really is a great coach.
Quarterbacks coach, yeah.
But as far as the Chargers and the Colts go yesterday, so I get here this morning. I literally get into the lobby here. It's 5:55 a.m. And Sexy Jexy says to me, wow, it was a really tough one yesterday. And I go, what was a tough one? He goes, the Chargers. And I'm like, that wasn't a tough one. That was a great one. Colt up, baby. I'm so tired of hearing about people telling me to bolt up. Colt up. Hey, the Chargers won their first 3 games.
By the way, those Chargers unis, I'm normally very complimentary of their unis. Not good.
J.J. Watt called them yesterday the Savannah Bananas on CBS.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
It was a terrible look.
Yeah.
Bad look, Chargers.
Remember when the NFL did that color rush thing for a little while on Thursday nights and they had the weird uniform? It felt like that. Yeah, not good.
So I'll just say this. The Chargers, if I were going to make excuses for the Raiders, okay, here would be my excuses for the Raiders. Their top receiver's out. Their top tight end is out. Their offensive line is trash. Their top defender is out. And they're playing on the road at Kansas City against a team that is emerging, getting their guys back. There. I've made a ton of excuses for the Raiders. If I were going to make excuses for the Chargers, it would go like this. Well, their top 2 offensive tackles are out. And on the first offensive play of the game yesterday, their 4th tackle got hurt. They cannot keep these guys healthy. And then when everybody tells me, oh, look what's going to happen now, Khalil Mack is making his return. He's back from injury. Non-issue. Chargers defense got steamrolled yesterday.
Steamrolled.
Not only was it the running game of Indianapolis.
But I don't think every team is capable of doing that to the Chargers defense.
Probably not.
Indianapolis is a special case of they might have the best offensive line in the sport, and they also have a running back who, I mean, you want to talk about crazy numbers? He's had 3+ touchdowns multiple times already in games this season through 7 games. He's fantastic. And by the way, he was fantastic even before they had a great offensive line. So now you give him this elite level offensive line. He's incredible. He's the best back in football this year.
But here's the thing, and this is what I'm trying to explain to you, and this is why I tried to explain this to you in the first 3 weeks of the season. In the first 3 weeks of the season, think about who the Chargers beat. They beat the Chiefs when the Chiefs were depleted at the wide receiver position, both through injury and suspension. Can we agree on that?
Sure.
Okay. Then they beat the Raiders. Do you think the Raiders are good?
No, I told you they stink.
Okay. Then they beat the Broncos.
Right. Broncos are good.
Broncos are good. And the Broncos should have won that game.
I mean, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Okay.
You could say that about every game.
Of course. Naturally.
Yes.
I could say that the Rams should have beaten the Eagles. I could say that the Colts should have beaten the Rams.
Correct.
100%.
Yes.
But they were 3-0.
Yeah.
And you know it because it happened. The whole NFL world starts telling you about how great the Chargers
They're
are.
still there, right in the mix, though.
But hold on. They're home, and they're playing against the Colts.
Right.
And you think the Colts are really good, right?
I think the Colts are an elite team. Yes.
So do I.
Yes.
And when you're home and you're playing against an elite team,
right,
that's when you have to step up and win games like that.
And I would say that Herbert was running for his life and made two big mistakes in the first half that really ended up costing them the game later. I mean, you can lose the game early. Like, you don't have to lose the game because then they had to chase the whole way after that.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that Kyle Shanahan's a good coach?
I do.
Okay. Do you think that Kyle Shanahan is doing a good job with a 49ers team that is destroyed and decimated by injury?
Sure.
Do you think Jim Harbaugh is a good coach?
But they've also had a much weaker schedule than the Chargers.
Oh, really?
I think.
Okay, because when I look at the Chargers' schedule, do you think the Giants are good?
Do I think the Giants are good?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're better than we thought they were for sure.
Okay, because
they're an average team, I would say.
Okay, so you lost to an average Giants team who's had
On
a
the
rookie
road.
quarterback making his first start.
Okay.
And then you lost the following week at home against the Commanders. So you lost two straight.
Right.
Then what did you do? You went and beat the Dolphins. Let me ask you a question. Do you think the Dolphins are a good team?
No, I don't.
And you know that
Although
the Chargers.
the Dolphins, it's crazy because if you look at it, they outside of this past week, I think almost all their losses are within like a score.
Well, the Chargers
So
had
but that's the NFL.
right. They had to make a dramatic comeback. The Chargers did to actually win that game against the Dolphins. I mean, the Dolphins had made their comeback.
They're decimated injury-wise, though, too.
That's my point.
But it's no different than San Francisco, who's barely winning games while they're decimated.
But they're finding ways to win games.
Okay.
And the Chargers
In a weaker conference, potentially.
And the Chargers are a team that is battered with injuries.
Yeah.
And so you're expecting that the difference is coaching. The reason San Francisco can find ways to win is because they have great coaching.
Yeah.
And remember, George, we're talking about offensive linemen being down for the Chargers.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. 2 running backs being down for the Chargers. That's a big deal. But they still have their superstar quarterback who can throw for 450 yards, but he has to do it coming from behind.
Yeah.
So the stats look gaudy,
Yeah.
but they're
the
not winning
Niners
numbers.
have the easiest strength of schedule in the sport.
Right, but they also have a backup quarterback.
Okay.
They also have
But that also helps when you have the backup quarterback.
Yeah, it helps.
Having the easy strength of schedule helps the backup quarterback.
Totally understood. But what I'm getting at is this, is that for all the talk about the Chargers, they're 3-0, they won 3 division games, they're in first place,
Right.
They're
but
awesome.
they still are 3-0 in the division, and when we get back to playing games in the division, as long
they're
as
in
they
big trouble.
You don't know that. First of all, because Joe Alt is supposed to come back sooner rather than later. That's going to, first of all, just that guy alone changes a lot of what they can do.
I will agree with that.
Yes.
Joe Alt is a game-changing type of a player.
Correct.
And he fixes a lot of problems on their offensive line.
Yeah.
But by the time the Chargers play against the Chiefs again,
right?
By the time the Chargers play against the Broncos again, remember.
And you don't think that them discovering Oronde Gadsden can be a badass at tight end for them in like a smallish tight end kind of frame? Like, they've got, as long as they can protect and
Which
run
they can't.
And run the foot, but
Which
they will.
can't.
But they will be able to when Alt comes back.
One guy ain't making all the difference.
You just said it did.
I
made
said
a huge
he's a difference maker.
Literally 5 seconds
I
ago.
said he's a difference maker.
Oh, come
but
on.
he's not going to make all
now,
the difference.
Now we're just having a semantics argument.
Well, wait a second. I also said that these guys are going to beat the Chargers down, and you said you don't know that, right?
You don't know.
Right. Of course I don't know.
Yeah.
But don't you make predictions on games all the time?
But if I brought back one of the better offensive linemen in football, that all of a sudden changes the dynamic, which you agreed as well.
I do. But
now you just said it doesn't.
No. I'm saying
so
that,
which is it? Are you still high?
Let me think about that for a second. Hold on a second. It was a 5 milligram gummy. It was a 5 milligram.
There's some like remnants.
It was a 5 milligram gummy.
5 seconds between your comments.
Wait, no, hold on. And it was Saturday.
Yeah.
And I did, to be honest.
Do you want some protein infused milk in your cappuccino?
But to be honest, after the 5 milligram gummy.
How much alcohol?
About another hour or so later.
You did another one?
I bit in 2.5 milligrams.
So you have 7.5 milligrams.
7.5 milligrams.
Now, by the way,
I could be a little high.
A bite doesn't necessarily like you're going half.
No,
it
it's
could
half.
be 3.
No, it's half. I'm very specific.
Could be 2.
No, very specific. Very specific.
You're a good biter?
I'm very
You're
careful.
a precise
I'm
biter?
very careful when it comes
That's
to
what I
biting.
hear.
That's right. Listen.
You want to get high?
All I'm telling you is this. And somebody else want to jump in here. After 3 weeks, here's what I was hearing. The Chargers are in first place.
They're right there.
They are winning the division. The Chiefs are going to steamroll them.
The fact that
and so are the Broncos.
You don't know that.
Yes, I do.
You're literally just like making stuff up out of thin air. They're going to be more healthy by the time they play those guys.
Nah, they're trash.
Okay.
And by the way, they look like the Savannah Bananas.
They definitely did that.
And what a celebration. Colt up, baby. Colt.
Osteoporosis day.
Mm-hmm. Shout out.
And Pete Carroll's going to get osteoporosis if he keeps having to coach this horrific team and a horrific organization.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, George. I will say this. If you're a hardcore Raider fan, if you've been a Raider fan for a long time, if you're a Raider fan for life, you may be emotional about what happened yesterday in Kansas City. If you're more analytical, like I am, I'm a Raider fan because Pete Carroll's the coach, but there's nothing I can say to you to defend the performance of the Raiders yesterday. Now, I could maybe start making some excuses, like their top wide receiver is out, their top tight end is out, they lose their top defensive player in the game. I can give you all of those excuses. By the same token, I could also come back to you and say, well, think about it from the Chiefs' perspective. They've been getting better as the weeks have gone on. They've been getting healthier. I mean, when you look at the Chiefs yesterday, I don't know if anybody was like really paying this much attention, but go look at their box score and go look at the number of guys that Patrick Mahomes threw the ball to, because you start to realize, okay, wait a second. They didn't have Xavier Worthy because he got hurt early. They didn't have their top wide receiver, Rashee Rice. He's just coming back. You got Juju Smith-Schuster. You got Hollywood Brown. Like, you start to realize, wow, the Chiefs have like 9 guys that Patrick Mahomes can get the ball to. And now that they've got Worthy back and they've got Rashee Rice back, and these are game-changing players for Kansas City. But there's not one thing you can say about the Raiders yesterday, because their Super Bowl champion coach looks super pissed. Like, I didn't think it was going to be this bad. Their supposedly competent quarterback doesn't look good at all. I mean,
that's not on Geno.
Dude, 67 yards.
It is. It is. It's on Geno.
67 yards passing in an NFL game.
He didn't have any interceptions, though.
Hey, that's good news. That's good.
Improvement.
That's a bright
2 weeks
side.
in a row.
That's a bright side. Remember last week we were talking about...
Last week I thought he had one. Didn't he have one last week?
Oh, no, he did have one.
Yeah.
But remember we were talking about the Jets, and the Jets had like minus 10 passing yards total? Think about this. Tomorrow's the Cap 10. I also give you the worst 5 teams in the entire NFL. Hey, Raider fans, I'm giving you advance notice. I'm giving you 24 hours.
Hey, what's up, home?
Homeboy, the Raiders are, they're Jets bad.
See, this is how you know that, Cappy, you're not like actually a Raider fan. Because when you call people out, you say, hey, Raider fan. Mm-hmm. You're not saying us.
No, I'm not saying us. No, I'm not saying us at all.
Yeah, you're not really Raider Cap. Great observation, Bert.
Thank you, Sedano. Yeah, because it's us. It's us. We are the worst team in the NFL.
No,
you're
the second worst team in the NFL.
Second.
I know, week 1 you were hard, like backpack with all kinds of chains and hats and beanies and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. What happened to that guy?
Well,
where's your chain?
Yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you what that guy's doing.
Worse.
Let me tell you what that guy's doing. Raider Cap, just so you know, is playing the long game. Raider Cap is willing to say, this is year 1 is about clearing things out and creating the Pete Carroll culture of competition. And
because that's going real well.
No, it's not going well at all. It's going terrible. It's going embarrassingly bad. And you think about it, because like, just look at New England, a team they beat in week 1. Last year, how bad were the Patriots? And now look where the Patriots are. And what's the big difference?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Is it coaching? I mean, Mike Vrabel's a successful coach, right?
And Drake May.
Right. And Drake May's advancing his career, right? The Raiders' mistake, and I'm going to put this right on Pete, even as a Pete guy, okay? Raider Cap is a Pete guy.
A Werther's original guy.
You know what Pete's biggest mistake was? Thinking that he needed a veteran quarterback that he knew and knew his system, because he didn't know his system, because they went out and got Chip Kelly.
Right.
And so Geno Smith was a disastrous idea by Pete Carroll and the Raider organization. And it's not all just on Geno. The point is, if you're going to be bad, George, it's better to be bad with a rookie quarterback.
I agree. Well, this is why I was like, draft Jackson Dart, trade back, do some. Like, the Ashton Genty stuff is cool, except running back. And I get he's different or he's better. But here's what I would say. The difference between Ashton Genty being good at running back and the next good running back is a lot smaller, the margins, than a good young quarterback being the guy at that position for you moving forward. Not to mention how much it helps you from a cap perspective that you're not paying the rookie quarterback the same salary you would a veteran quarterback, which then allows you to put better pieces around him.
And look at the energy. Like, look at the energy of the New England Patriots because of Drake May. I don't know if anybody saw their postgame, but, you know, here you have Mike Vrabel, who goes back to Tennessee, and they play head-to-head against a team that fired him, and it's Drake May giving their coach the game ball. Or you look at Jackson Dart, and yes, I know it was a spectacular comeback by the Broncos yesterday, and you might even say it was a spectacular collapse by the Giants yesterday. But you can see that Jackson Dart has infused energy, youthful energy, and belief into the New York Giants. Whereas a guy
they had
like
a tough loss yesterday, but to your point, they're in it.
But
Right.
whereas a guy like Justin Fields, for example, is benched by the Jets. They got him because they think, hey, he's a veteran, he's been around, he's been okay. Maybe we can get the best out of him. He's already benched.
Yeah.
You've got, if the Raiders, and they know it to be true now, they probably didn't know it at the beginning. The screw up was Geno Smith because of what you're saying. They're spending too much money on a guy who's not a top flight quarterback, and they'd be better served with a young guy, because young guys can lose games, but at least they're starting to make some improvements in their game. I mean, Jackson Dart is going to learn from the terrible interception that he threw yesterday late in that game against Denver, which, by the way, was that not one of the most incredible fourth quarters you've ever seen? It was
awesome, dude.
You're down 19-0, and you come back, and now you find yourself down 32-30 because the Giants guy misses a PAT. There's 30 seconds to go. 2 plays, you're in field goal position, win the game.
Unbelievable.
Insane.
Yeah.
God, the Raiders are terrible.
But I do like Jackson Dart.
So do I.
Yeah.
So do I. But there's nothing I can say to you today. I'm not emotional.
And he could have been a Raider.
Could have been.
Could have been a Raider.
And
if
you
you just would have traded down.
And you know what the Raiders
And
would
by
been?
the way, you might have still been able to get Genty and Dart if you
probably
traded
could
back.
have.
Yep.
You absolutely could have.
And you know what? The Raiders might still be 2-5, or they might be 1-6, or they might be 0-7 with a rookie quarterback. But you'd be preparing for the future. Pete actually showed up and convinced many of us, those of us who are Pete fans, that they will immediately be good.
How's that working out?
Not working.
Yeah,
not
but
working out well.
I mean, that was nonsense. Like, nobody actually bought that except you guys.
Well, you see that? That's us.
That is
Fergie.
us.
See,
That's the beauty. Well, thank you for saying we on here.
We bought his nonsense.
That's the beauty of football. Before the season starts, you have high hopes always. Think this could be the year. Worst to first. The Raiders are going to do it, and then they just tear your heart out.
You know what I would
every
do if I were the
single
Raiders?
year.
I'd trade Max Crosby as soon as I could. Seriously, I'd get as much for him as I could.
There was
He's
a certain
heart and soul guy, Cap.
There was a certain afternoon at SeaWorld over the summer that I made it clear how I felt about the Raiders.
Yeah. and now you berate us.
$1 Million Mondays is back on
Us.
710. Thanks to Pechanga Resort Casino. Listen all day for your chance.
PEDs.
The balance of how you drive me crazy and also make me laugh hilariously is like the perfect balance.
See
for
that?
me.
Perfect balance.
Yeah.
Perfect balance.
Yeah.
Those are good.
I love Michael. Don't get me wrong. But it's a different relationship.
Different relationship.
Yeah.
Very different. But here's the thing about Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford had 5 touchdown passes with less than 200 yards of total passing. By way of example, because this proves how you win games. Justin Herbert yesterday, 420 yards. He had 3 touchdowns.
Herbert.
But he also had 2 interceptions.
Yeah, 2 costly interceptions.
Very
early
costly.
On.
And
put him in a hole.
And one of them, you say, well, maybe that's not the quarterback's fault. Ball gets tipped up in the air.
Yeah, I get it, but still bad interceptions.
But
That's not on Herbert.
No.
Well, but he did try to fit it into a tight window, I thought.
But efficiency is my point. Because when you look at Daniel Jones, 288 yards passing to combine with Jonathan Taylor's 94 yards rushing, he had 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, and most importantly, was only sacked 1 time, Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So, if your quarterback is passing for 400+ yards, you're probably not winning. You know what I'm saying?
I love
Here's my point. When your quarterback throws for 420 yards, you're probably losing the game. Matthew Stafford passed for less than 200 yards, and he had 5 touchdowns. And just by way of example, the Cowboys yesterday pulled off what was a very impressive win, especially coming off a bad loss they had the week before.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys are kind of showing you that I guess the reason they were willing to give up a Micah Parsons is because ultimately they're going to have to outscore you. Whereas Micah Parsons, on the other hand,
3 sacks yesterday
and closed the game for Green Bay against Arizona.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott yesterday had a
You
really
hear that?
big game.
That's football talk right
That
there.
is football. Dak Prescott yesterday passed for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game where the Cowboys scored 44 points.
Yeah.
So it just kind of goes to show you yet again, like, if your quarterback is throwing for 400 yards, you're probably losing.
Yeah. Right, because they're chasing.
Right.
More times than not.
Look at these numbers. For Dak Prescott, he had 30 pass attempts yesterday. For Daniel Jones, it was like also in the 30-ish range.
Yeah.
For Matthew Stafford, he had 33 pass attempts
that's
yesterday.
where you want to be.
Right.
Once you go plus 40, then you're starting to get dicey.
Right. Unless, of course, you do what the Denver Broncos did yesterday, which was make this dramatic comeback when they honestly, like, we got to just take a pause on this for a quick second.
Hit the pause.
It's 19-0 going into the fourth quarter.
Crazy.
The Broncos, I think, had 6 points with 4 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah.
And they scored 33 points total. It was insanity what happened in the fourth quarter. I know it was a good shot, but that's right.
Bounced around.
Anyway, football. That's all I'm saying.
Football. Yeah. What about the Raiders, though?
They're terrible. In fact, not only terrible. You know what?
Is your guy Pete going to survive the season? I mean, I think they have to, but
will his teeth survive the season?
I mean, let me ask Bergman.
Yeah, he just got a new pair, remember?
Bergman, let's say they only win like 3 or 4 games this year.
Yeah, he's got a 3-year deal.
You think they're keeping him?
You sound so enthused about it.
I mean, I honestly don't really blame Pete. I blame Chip Kelly. That offense stinks.
Let me ask.
You got to blame Pete though for the Geno move.
Let me ask
the
the
Geno
Mongrels.
move. That is Pete's fault.
Smash the like button if you think Pete Carroll is going to survive the season.
You should all smash.
I don't
the
think
like
he
button.
will.
On YouTube.
You
Like,
don't?
how can he?
Why would it's only been like 6
Because
games.
I feel like, they brought him in for this whole winning culture thing, and it's just they're worse than last year.
True.
They're arguably better on paper, but they're way worse than last year.
All of Cappy's things are right. There's no offensive line. Their top receivers hurt. Their top
tight end.
How
tight end is
involved is
hurt.
Pete in personnel? I mean, the Geno thing was him, right?
I think it was him. I assume it was him. I assume that Pete Carroll goes to Mark Davis and says, hey, look, we got to upgrade the quarterback position. Who's an available free agent at a decent price for an available free agent starting quarterback?
At what point do we start looking at Brady and being like, hey, bro, like, what's your deal here? This team stinks.
Yeah, like, why didn't you step up and tell everybody that Geno was no good? But you see, we're blaming Geno and we're blaming the quarterback.
The Raiders general manager is a guy named John Spytek.
Right. They brought him from...
Interestingly, because Brady was also involved in Spygate.
Yes. Very good. Very good. But Spytek, I'm trying to remember. Do you remember his background, where he'd come from?
Tampa, was he? Was he there and with?
Here's the thing.
He was in, let me see, Cleveland, it looks like, and the Bucks and the Eagles.
Yeah, the Bucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the Eagles is where he came from, right? Yeah. Here's the thing. We'll all blame Geno Smith because that's what everybody does. They blame the quarterback.
Well,
they
he's
give the
not
quarterback.
good.
I agree. However, it is not just Geno Smith's fault. In other words, you don't have your top receiver, you don't have your top tight end, and you lose Max Crosby in that game, and you're already with a very depleted, bad offensive line.
Yeah,
So
the Bowers injury.
No left tackle. Colton Miller's out.
The Bowers injury is a huge deal. Like, he was, I mean, last year when you saw him, he was fantastic. And he's just not available.
But the thing is this, while we'll all look at Geno, here's the thing. It is the fault of Spytek, their general manager, of Pete, their head coach, of Chip Kelly, their offensive coordinator. Who of the three of them, because they're supposed to be smart insiders. This is their career. This is their industry. Who of the three of them was like, you know what? Geno Smith gives us an immediate chance to win.
Had to be Pete.
Probably because what he thought was, I've won with him before. He's a mid-30s quarterback whose body is probably late 20s because he hadn't played the whole way.
Can we revisit something?
Yeah.
Remember I said, bring in Sam Darnold. And I got laughed out of the room here. Sam Darnold has been one of the best quarterbacks in the sport this year.
There is no doubt.
He's like in the top 3 in explosive plays. Like he's not throwing for 300 every week, but he's taking the deep shots when they've got him, and he's connecting at a high rate.
Right, but you know what the problem would be if Sam Darnold were the quarterback of the Raiders
You're
right
saying
now? They'd be in a similar position. And
Absolutely.
But he's actually better on the move than Geno Smith is.
But how much better would the Raiders be? In other words, if you, let me put it this way. If you took...
I know this is like most people wouldn't believe this. He's way better throwing the ball on the run than Geno Smith is.
Okay, that's fine. But let me ask you, if I put Patrick Mahomes on the Raiders, how much better are the Raiders?
I mean, they're better.
How much?
I mean, they're a playoff team probably.
Come on.
Yes.
No, they wouldn't be a playoff team.
What?
Come on.
Yes.
Come on.
They have no offensive line to protect him. He would get destroyed.
2 years ago, he had no offensive line.
But who would he throw to?
Yeah.
Who was he throwing to the last 2 years?
Right, but if he were the Raiders, okay, but remember now, you're
he
also
had
talking
one
about
guy in Kelsey, and an older Kelsey. But their receiving core has not been good the last couple of years until literally this week.
Right, but look at the Chiefs and their coaching staff and the consistency.
Wait, but I thought Pete Carroll was an elite coach.
No, he is or has been, and it's his first year in this system, and he's got a whole new staff. So what I'm getting at is that when you have consistency in the
amazing
organization,
part of this conversation of you telling me they would not be a playoff team, you telling me they would not be a playoff team with Patrick Mahomes, is how high you guys were on him. No pun intended. Are you
going to get me high with these gummies?
They're caffeine gummies.
I don't know, man. I think you gave me something.
Caffeine high, that's right.
I mean, it is amazing where we are, that you literally are now telling me that with Patrick Mahomes. If I would have told you this 6 weeks ago, you would have said Patrick Mahomes, they're winning the Super Bowl.
But hold on.
That was the beginning of the season.
A couple of things happened. Brock Bowers is no longer available.
Yep.
Max Crosby is hurt.
Colton Miller.
Their starting left tackle is out. Their offensive line is no good. They don't have a running game. Their offensive coordinator, we're all sitting here complaining about. People are taking shots at Pete and his osteoporosis or his teeth or I don't know what the hell.
And the Werther's original.
And the Werther's as well. All I'm saying is that you could have taken Sam Darnold and put him on the Raiders and everybody be complaining about Sam Darnold right now. The mistake, and I am guilty because I bought it. The mistake was getting Geno, not because he's Geno. The mistake was get a rookie quarterback and work through the issues of being a rookie quarterback so that you could be like New England in year 2 where you've got Drake May going. How much better is Caleb Williams right now than he was a year ago?
He looks good.
He looks really good, right?
I mean, Bergman said he was trash 2 weeks ago.
I still believe it.
Okay, Jackson Dart, while they lost yesterday to the Giants,
looks good.
How much better will the Giants be next year with Jackson Dart as a second-year player?
He'd be good.
So my point is that the error was in the calculation that Geno is going to help us win immediately. It was a complete disaster. And not only are they overspending on Geno, to your point earlier, if they had a rookie quarterback on a rookie quarterback contract,
they'd be able to augment the the roster.
They would do what Pete did in Seattle when he had Russ.
Right.
Russ.
Why didn't they do that?
Because Pete is old and Pete wanted to be competitive right away.
That's right.
And it was a complete miscalculation.
Right. I can't disagree. I mean, I wish I was.
But this is literally what I was telling you in the summer.
Right. But I wanted to believe that Pete and his history with Geno and all these other things, all I said was Geno would be a competent starting quarterback.
And what I told you there was Pete has been a pretty mediocre coach, post Russell Wilson, or basically from Russell's last year in Seattle on.
Well, I'm not going to give up on Pete just yet, and here's why. Because I thought that Mike McCarthy was going to get to Dallas and not do anything, which he really didn't do.
But they were playoff
But they were competent and professional.
No, the biggest miscalculation you made from a coaching perspective, and you've admitted this,
Sean Payton,
no question.
But just go.
We went to the mattresses on that one a few times.
But go to Sean Payton in his early years in Denver, and this is year 3, I believe. Sean Payton in his first year.
I thought it was year 2.
I think this is year 3.
I think it's 3.
Because in year 1, you'd have to go back and look. But in year 1, he's got Russell Wilson.
Right, hamstrung.
And so now Pete is hamstrung with Geno Smith.
But Sean walked into that situation with Russell Wilson on this in ridiculous contract. Pete gave Geno an extension,
and that was the mistake. That was the mistake.
It is third.
And so what has Sean Payton done?
Yeah.
Sean Payton said, "I got to get
because they drafted Knicks last year.
Right, I got to get rid of Russell Wilson, and I got to get a rookie quarterback that I can put my stamp on this kid.
Right.
And now
he's done it. Knicks is good.
And look at what Knicks did yesterday.
Yeah.
What Knicks did yesterday is going to go down in Broncos history as the greatest comeback in the history of the organization. And he's in his second year.
Yeah.
So the mistake that Pete made, and I admit I also bought into the mistake that Pete made, I thought you'd have a competent quarterback. You know what the worst insult I can give the Raiders about yesterday? Unprofessional. You understand what I'm saying?
That's fair.
Like not you played bad and you got a bunch of guys hurt and you got embarrassed yesterday by the Chiefs, who I think I think the Chiefs might be the best team in the NFL right now. And their record wouldn't have you believe that, but I think they might be.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. The effort yesterday by the Raiders and the lack of roster to fill in holes, unprofessional. That's what the Raiders were yesterday.
Cappy, tomorrow